Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you this Assassin's Creed style wrist mounted crossbow. This actually isn't a crossbow, it's a sling-bow, and it's powered by rubber, and that means that it can be much more compact than a crossbow. Now I'm just going to quickly show a couple of shots of it shooting, and as you can see it's pretty powerful. I'm going to show some more shots of it shooting and do some more shooting tests later on in the video, once I've explained more about the weapon. So firstly, I'd just like to say that Joergs from the Slingshot channel has already made a weapon very similar to this, and this design was pretty much based off his, so I'm going to put a link in the description down below and you should definitely go and check out that video. Next, I also know that no weapons like this have ever been featured in any of the Assassin's Creed games, but I do think that it looks something like something that would be in the Assassin's Creed games since it's wrist mounted and is almost small enough to be concealed. If you've been following my channel for a while, then you will probably know that I've already made a version like this in the past, and with my old wrist mounted crossbow, which wasn't very good, I promised that I'd make a how-to tutorial, but then in the end I never actually did. But for this crossbow, there is definitely going to be a how-to tutorial coming out next weekend. This newer version of the crossbow is much more powerful and also much better than my old wrist mounted crossbow. Firstly, it's much more compact and it looks better because I've painted it black, and it's mounted underneath my wrist so that it's much more convenient and it gets in the way less. The next major improvement is the trigger mechanism. With my old wrist mounted crossbow, it had a string which attached to the trigger mechanism and went all the way to the front of my right hand, and then I could pull on a knot and then that would fire the crossbow. But this trigger mechanism was very hard to use, and you really couldn't fire off the crossbow when you wanted to. This new trigger mechanism uses a plywood hook secured in place by a nail with rubber bands that can pull it back to its original point. Now I'm going to show you how to put on the crossbow and attach it to your wrist. The strap that you use for your wrist is made from an old wrist brace that attaches around the crossbow and then attaches around your wrist using Velcro, and then the back part of the strap is just a notching system which I made that's kind of like a belt. Attaching the crossbow is pretty simple and it doesn't take much time. Firstly, you just attach the Velcro around your wrist and make sure that it's secure and tight, and then you just take the clips and push the little holes through the nails, kind of like a belt. Now that the crossbow is securely attached, I'm going to show you how to load and shoot it. The way that this crossbow works is that it's really compact and the rubber attaches at the very back of the crossbow. It then stretches around the rollers, which are made from skateboard bearings for low friction, and then stretches all the way back to the trigger mechanism, meaning that it's very compact. The loading method is quite complicated, but once you practice at it a little, you can do it pretty fast, and it means that you can pull back really heavy draw weights, achieving very high velocity. So the way that it works is metal hooks attached around the bowstring, and then they are attached to some long paracord which attaches all the way to the back of the crossbow and around some rollers at the back, and then that goes all the way back to the front of the crossbow. And then when you pull on the loop of string, which can loop over your foot hard enough, it pulls on the hooks and loads the crossbow. The first step in loading it is hooking the metal hooks around the bowstring. Then hook the end of the string over your foot and pull on it until it loads the crossbow all the way back to the trigger mechanism. Once the trigger's engaged, then you can release the pressure. Next, you need to unhook the hooks off the bowstring and then attach them to the magnets which are at the front. Then take the bolt which you're using, and I'm just using a pistol crossbow bolt, and load it into the crossbow. It's held in place by a magnet. Now simply point and shoot. This crossbow's got a decent amount of power behind it, and when I fire it, it almost knocks the archery foam target over. Sorry that there's no outdoor shooting, but as usual, it's really bad weather here. The crossbow seems to be firing quite accurately and powerful in the small spaces which I'm able to fire it in, and even slow motion footage can't really catch the bolt in flight that well. Now it's time to test it against some more substantial targets. The crossbow can easily destroy 2 milk cartons. Now let's see what it can do against a scrumpled up can. Pretty good, it's even gone really far into the cardboard. Now let's try against 2 more scrumpled up cans, and it does pretty well, even managing to penetrate deep through the second can. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, I'm sure that you'll like most of the other videos on my channel, which are all on a very similar theme to this. Remember to subscribe so that you can see when I upload the how-to tutorial next weekend.